And good morning, Boquete. Good morning to everyone out in Cherokee, everywhere in Cherokee. And, you know, that's a pretty big area. You were listening to Boquete Now, Talk Radio on Radio Cherokee 103.3 FM. We are proudly sponsored by Big Daddy's Grill and ACCB. We have got a great show for you today. We have our probably the most returning guest ever on this show, Chef Chris Young.
Good morning. Good morning.
And we've got a lot to talk about today. We've got only an hour, so we got to cover a lot of stuff. Chris is on the show today, and I have to offer apologies. My promotion of the show wasn't exactly accurate, and that's my fault. So it's going to be better. So
Better.
Much better.
Yeah, what we're talking about is way better than...
Way better.
Yeah,
Anyway, Chris has he has come up with this program for special needs kids here in Boquete, just the whole district, right?
Yeah,
pretty much the whole district. Yeah,
and David and yeah,
and
anybody
you know
that can make
He and I were talking before the show, and you know, the special needs kids already have a hard time getting through life, and this pandemic has taken away a lot more from them than they really have, you know, from us.
Right.
Whatever little social interaction they had or chance to get involved in things was just pulled.
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly.
So let's get right into this, Chris. What's the program? What are we doing here? What are you doing?
Okay, so my partner, we sold him half the restaurant at Boulder 54. Ben
Looney.
Ben Looney.
Yeah.
Chef Ben
Great
Looney.
guy, man.
He's amazing. Yeah. So his background is chef. He's done it for long time. But one of the things he did for some years was he worked at a place called Hugs Cafe in Dallas, Texas. Mm-hmm. Google that if you it's really cool. They have it's a functioning restaurant. Mm-hmm. They actually have also a farming side as well.
Nice.
Which I would love to. What my plan to present, I'd love to get into that too. But that's phase 2, phase 3, phase 4. Yeah, down the road. So anyway, so what he did was he was the chef for this restaurant that only hired special needs children.
Wow.
Down syndrome, autism, blind, any form of handicap.
The whole spectrum, yeah.
He worked with these kids, and he did it for, I think he said 7 years. Wow. And I asked him, I said, man, how do you, there's knives, there's
well, kitchens are dangerous.
Ovens,
yeah.
There's things that are hot and sharp, and I mean, even cutting onions can, or handling hot peppers, and then that can
rubbing your eyes,
or even worse, using the bathroom. Yeah. So anyway, there's some stuff it's not easy, and it's dangerous, and
I didn't even think about the logistics behind that. Your kitchens are dangerous for the rest of us.
Yeah. So I said, how does that even work? I mean, I just don't understand it. So he has tons of experience in this. He said, and it was funny because he knocked on wood. Said like he's still doing it. 7 years, no accidents.
Yeah.
So he and I were talking, and that's one of the main reasons that we decided to join forces and work together.
So you had discussed this before you even came together with Mesa Azul.
Yes, correct.
This has been in the works for a while.
So this has been some months that we've been talking about this. Yeah. So anyway, so it's the idea is this. How to get it going, there's some legal stuff we're working through that we still have to work through. There is a program actually we discovered that was in action pre-pandemic. I'm looking into, after the pandemic, things are they're just now starting to reopen, and these government agencies are starting to reactivate and be in full force.
It's a process, man.
Definitely. So that really obviously slowed everybody down. But but pre-pandemic, they had a program where they would actually, Panama is a country where the employees are very protected, and especially special needs children are especially protected, as they should be.
Sure,
know?
absolutely. Yeah.
But they have a program where they will write the work contract for you and put it in your system, and they'll give an orientation, and then they will actually pay for half of the person's salary.
Wow.
So it's cool, you know.
Yeah.
So they're actually, there's something in place where they're trying to help that as well.
Yeah.
So I discovered this. You know, if you go to in David, I noticed at Super Baru, there's a lot of like deaf kids sacking groceries, and I've always wondered why. And I discovered that's why, because they're part of utilizing this program that Mitradel offers, which is great.
It's really good to hear that, you know, because I know a lot of people that aren't from here, expats, extranjeros, you know, they have this preconceived notion about developing nations. You know, nothing is where it's not like that in my passport country. But I've learned over the past almost 4 years that like you said, the employees here have more protection than a lot of developed nations do.
Yeah.
And the fact that they're focusing on special needs is real. I mean, it's really good to hear. I mean, we've both got special needs people in our family. So we got kind of a firsthand, insight into that. It's really good to hear, though. That's very good to hear.
Yeah. It's something that's close to home. I have a family member that's has Down syndrome, and so Ben also has a family member with Down syndrome. So it's something that we both really hits home.
Yeah.
So I started thinking, like, how can we incorporate more people?
Sure.
To get this going, and so we came up with Ben came up with the idea of a calendar.
A calendar. Cool.
So we started looking at that, and as we realized, well, there's the Boquete Animales. That's kind of their thing. They have this calendar that comes out every year, and it's a very cool thing. It has all the holidays.
Yeah, it's very popular.
So we started thinking, what can we do to other than a calendar, something different?
Sure.
So somebody, I don't remember, it wasn't, I can't take credit for this. It wasn't me. I think it was either Ben or maybe Fran Hogan. Mm-hmm. She's involved in helping me with the photos, and her photos are just amazing.
Tell me about it, right?
But we came up with a cookbook.
A cookbook.
So then it started going, okay, cookbook, as the wheels are turning and all that's going. So started thinking, well, you know what? Let's do this. As it's been a rough time for everybody.
Sure has, yeah.
How can we incorporate more of the community while helping the community as well? So I don't know if I came up with somebody. One of us came up with the idea of 12 chefs. I think the number 12 had to do with we first looked into printing options, expenses.
12 months, the calendar, yeah.
Something like that. It came up with something like that. So so the number 12 was chosen for the number of chefs, and out I went. I started talking to chefs, and the idea of the cookbook is this. It's basically these 12 chefs. Some of them don't have restaurants, but they have something going on.
Sure, yeah.
So the idea is buy the book, which I don't know how much yet. I want to keep it $10 or less. Don't quote me on that price, but I mean, there's still some expenses that we're trying to work out.
Give or take.
The idea of the book is buy the book. Mm-hmm. Then take the book to Barra de Cusco, for example. He's one of the chefs in there. His name's Jorge. And say, order food, enjoy, and get Jorge to come out and sign your book.
Oh, cool.
So do this with the 12 chefs that are in the restaurant. I mean, in the cookbook. And so then also these restaurants that you may go to all the time or you may not know is there, you get to experience that. You support a local business, and it's just everybody wins. And then and then I talked to these chefs, and I've asked them, would you be willing to help me with the special needs program? So a lot of them, absolutely, no problem. And so, Ben's learning Spanish. Yeah. My Spanish is maybe 80%.
Yeah, mine's 20. And
I got like that gringo accent that some people don't understand. So having locals that it's their first language helping, and chefs that know it's going to be a cool project. It's just, it's, and I'm open to ideas, by the way. If you're listening to this and you say, you know what, this would be perfect, please send me an email or a WhatsApp or a
text and message,
whatever. Yeah,
get a hold of Chris.
Hit me up if you have an idea or you want to volunteer. I will need volunteers in the future for the selling part of it and just different things. So now what I hope to happen is I hope this thing is so big that we decide we need to do this quarterly.
Yeah.
This book.
Wow.
And then it could be like the best sancocho and top 12 sancocho or best hot dog or whatever, we could theme it. We could do the best, whatever.
Yeah.
So these books have I'm getting just chill bumps and excited talking about it.
I am too, because it's as you're explaining this, it started with this, and then it morphed into that, and then this person got involved, and then Ben with the special. Everything's just kind of coming together, and like they say in the A Team, I love it when a plan comes together.
Exactly,
right?
Exactly. I stumbled across. I was like, I wonder. Let's get the Special Olympics involved. So I started digging around, and I found the lady who was in charge of Special Olympics for the country, who lives in David.
Oh,
how convenient!
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah.
So, working on getting a meeting with her. It's one thing. It's been tough trying to connect.
Logistics here now are a little difficult. Yeah.
Right. So anyway, the grand plan is to these special needs, train them. There's some that they all have different talents.
Yeah.
Whether it's rolling silverware or making the salads or baking the bread or washing the dishes or peeling the potato, whatever. The idea is to first of all, work with these kids, give them a sense of, teach them a skill, teach them a life skill.
Yeah.
Something that they can maybe do at home. On top of that, I'd like to find jobs for these kids. That's another thing that Ben did in the States was he would place kids, he would look for jobs for them, place them, and then kind of be the liaison between the boss and the student. And so give them a job, I mean, how cool would that?
That just, it's just one of those things when you hear it, it gives you chills.
Yeah.
A lot of these kids have just been, pushed aside, ignored. They have abilities, they have skills, they have things they can do, and they really, really want to be part of something.
Right.
And a lot of the times that opportunity's not there.
Yeah.
And it's a shame, really, because they have special needs kids, adults too, for that matter, have a lot to contribute to their community.
Yeah, I agree.
My
brother, for example, when he doesn't have his social skills, especially after the pandemic, have been going downhill a little bit, and even I'm speaking specifically about the Down syndrome, and that's these kids are so loving. Yeah. They have a sense of love more than most of us. So like my brother, he'll run up to anybody and give him a hug. And
everybody loves Cody.
Exactly. Yeah, he does. He's a little superstar. But some people get a little uncomfortable because they don't, and it's been. So anyway, the point is, this thing teaches some life skills, teaches some social skills, and it just works and it's cool.
So it's beyond just giving them a skill or training them to do something. You're actually going that extra step and teaching them, like you had said, some social skills or other things that they can do to be inclusive.
Well, just being around other people and in a consistent environment. The Handicap Foundation does a great job and love those guys. And I think they're just kind of re-upping again, getting back in there.
Everybody is, everyone's trying to gear up and get going again.
Yeah. So so that's kind of in a nutshell what we're doing, the cookbooks. We're hoping to have them done before Christmas. Rounding up, I don't know if you know, but chefs are, they're not known for being the most responsible early in the morning, as most of them work late.
Well, yeah, my wife spent 27 years in restaurants as a bartender and everything.
The business,
and it's getting ready to go to work at 2 PM.
Right.
Don't touch me before 10 o'clock in the morning.
Exactly.
Be quiet. No, it's really cool because I mean, every aspect of this, like say the cookbooks, for example. There's a lot of people that I've met throughout my life I call them dump cooks. They can just open up a cabinet and grab ingredients out and just make something just perfect from I know what this is going to taste like. See, I'm not one of those people. And I actually enjoy cooking. I'm terrible at it unless I have a recipe in front of me. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because when I cook something from a recipe, I have I have cups, 2-ounce cups, 1-ounce cup spoons, and I lay out everything. I filled a tablespoon previously so I can just do everything. And I follow. And if I follow that cookbook, more times than not, it comes out good.
Nice.
And you
have to teach me that trick. I tried the same in golf, and it just doesn't work out.
Try that in fishing. Yeah.
Fishing. Yeah. That's right. Try that in fishing. Yeah.
But, cookbooks, in my world are a lifesaver because, Day and I, we share our cooking. We share everything. It's just the two of us. So either she'll cook and I'll clean up or vice versa. And I was getting nervous, right? Because she's a great cook.
I see the photos. She is unbelievable.
And I'm like, and then it's my turn. And I'm like, do not take a picture of this.
Grilled cheese again.
Do not post this. I can, And even the other day, she's like, I can make a heart out of a hot dog and put an egg in the middle of it. Just something so simple, right?
I saw that. That was awesome.
I don't have that ability. And there's a lot of people like me who kind of enjoy being in the kitchen, but just don't have the skill set for it. We're not, Chef Chris Young. And we would buy that. I would buy that cookbook. Particularly because of the variety of restaurants here in town. And if are these recipes going to be from the chefs? Are they going to be the chef's recipes?
Yes.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
I know there's no way I'm ever going to be able to make that pork shoulder like you had at Mesa Azul and you had at Boulder. But there's a few things, that Day and I eat a lot at local restaurants. And some of them aren't, on the top of the list. We just go to everywhere to try it out. And it would be really cool to have that. Hey, we ate this over at that restaurant. Let me try and make that.
Exactly. Yeah. So, exactly. Now, the recipes may not necessarily be what the chef is on the menu. Some of these chefs, it's not their restaurant, so I just want to feature them, and it kind of helps everybody. So I'll tell you what, some of them don't have restaurants, as I may have mentioned, but one of the girls, this young lady, she made some chicken tikka masala, and my goodness.
Now let's pretend for a minute that nobody knows what chicken tikka masala is. What is that?
Oh, nice. I'll tell you, that's the national dish of England.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I thought it was like
it's an Indian dish. It's an Indian dish. No, it's chicken. It's marinated in yogurt normally, which is like a tenderizer. Yeah. And then you have like some different spices, curries, different things, and it's just like a stew, but an Indian style served over rice.
I am consistently amazed with chefs. And it doesn't even matter what kind of food it is, mainly because I love to eat, and I have a very particular palate, and I watch cooking shows, which I know if I have to lose my man card for it, I don't really care.
I think it's cool now. Back in the day when it first started, I was watching it all the time, and I did lose my man card. Like, why don't we watch the football game? We're watching Food Network.
No, I'm watching Graham Kerr. Yeah. You remember Galloping Gourmet? Well, you probably were.
Yes, I do.
I love that guy. And the best part of that show was at the end.
Yeah.
When he took that first bite of food.
Right.
And the guy who's just like overcome.
Yeah.
And I watch these shows and I don't have the skill or the natural ability to do this. So I've always relied on cookbooks. I've always relied on recipes. And some of the cooking shows that I watch are mainstream popular. I really like Gordon Ramsay. I know that's a controversial thing to say.
Let me tell you something about him. He has 80% retention rate of employees. 80% of his employees have been with him for 20 plus years. 80%. Yeah. So what is that? I mean, obviously, these things where you see him flipping out and saying things that are just absurd. Yeah. It's probably an act.
But it's great entertainment. But at the same time, though, he's making something.
Now what the problem with that is, you see these young chefs and I may be guilty of that at one point in my life, but you see them and they look up to him and they're like, that's how I have to be. Oh. So you have these you know, it's just interesting. You know?
Yeah.
I wonder, you know, I was talking with Richard over at the owner of Sugar and Spice the other day.
Yeah.
And you know, the as you know, being involved in the restaurant world most of your life, and your wife and your family, and I know you come from that background. It's not an easy environment.
Oh God, no.
And it's very militant.
Yeah.
And you know, there's things that are said that aren't very PC, and there's things that are thrown that shouldn't be thrown. And but we were talking about, I wonder, you know, things are so now they're so everybody's so sensitive, and things are changing.
Yeah, it is. You know.
I wonder if that still happens in the States or Europe. You know, Europe, especially France, Spain. You know, those intense.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's still going on, like where you.
You know, I don't know. You know, I haven't been exposed to that in many years. And you know, my wife's been out of the business for 5-6 years now. But up until we moved here, the restaurants, she worked at some high-end restaurants, 4 or 5 star restaurants, and the head chef, I mean, they get into the kitchen, gets into the weeds.
Oh yeah.
Right. Chef's freaking out because she's got 15 orders up and none of them are completed. Yeah, no, she's come back and told me stories about, you would not believe what the chef said, or what the owner comes in, and if it's an owner chef.
Yeah.
You know, but people have an expectation when you go into a restaurant in the States where you're going to drop $200 or $300 on a meal for 2 people.
Right.
They have an
perfect.
It's got to be perfect. You know, and it's funny because, you know, shows like Kitchen Nightmares and Hell's Kitchen and all that, I'm pretty confident that it's an act.
Yeah.
But that's an interesting point you brought up, to have young chefs watch that and think that's the way it is.
Right.
That might not be such a good thing. You know, I have a tremendous amount of respect for anything in the back house of a restaurant or a hotel. I ran hotels with restaurants in it for years, and I know, you know, firsthand what you guys go through. Yeah. And it's just one thing after another, and it's like a well-oiled machine. But if a monkey wrench gets thrown into that, everything is just thrown off. You know, on top of working 18-hour days.
Well, I definitely, for coming from the States, I had to adapt my style moving to Panama in the kitchen. You know, like and really it's this. You have this normal voice that we're talking in now, and then you have your kitchen voice. Your kitchen voice, you have the extractor fan going, you have things clanking around, occasionally you have the waiter dropping a tray of plates all over the floor, you know, things like that. You have lots of noises, so you have your regular voice and kitchen voice. Yeah. But the kitchen voice, which is a little more stern, and there's not a lot of time for please and thank you and pleasantries in the middle of go time.
Yeah, sure.
But that what I learned is that the kitchen voice can be a little firm for some people that I've worked with.
Well, and this is what I wanted to segue into this with the special needs kids.
Yeah.
You know, I know that a lot of the triggers they have are around loud noises or tones of voice.
Yeah, exactly.
So I guess that kitchen voice would have to be, you know, somehow amended or.
Well, so the way that, and this is, Ben told me that when he went on board with this restaurant, and you guys should Google this place, and so you get kind of an idea of what we're doing.
I'll put it in the link.
Hugs Cafe. Okay.
I'll put it in there. Yeah.
I follow them on I get a monthly or weekly, or I don't know how often. I get a newsletter from them, and it's really interesting just to keep up, and I want to kind of model what we're doing after them, except for one thing, the classes that we do. I don't really want it, because of what you're talking about, Al. I don't want it to be during the restaurant go time, because.
Oh yeah.
So and he said, you know, if he could have changed one thing about their concept, he would have done more of a catering atmosphere.
Oh right, okay.
Because catering, you know, okay, I need 37 this and 45 this and 16 this, and you know a few days in advance.
Sure, it takes the guesswork. The last minute.
Exactly. So you have a little more time and patience. You definitely need patience of an elephant to be able to do this.
Sure.
And that was one of the questions I had. How do you take maybe one of the special needs is a severe anger problem? You know, I've experienced that some, you know, in the autistic world, they don't like to be touched, and
Right.
they can freak out. You know, and you have somebody holding a knife, and you know they start doing that. That could be very dangerous.
Could be, yeah.
So, our idea is to do this, whether it's like you know, we make sandwiches on Thursday. Or sorry, let's say sandwiches on Monday, and then we have people available. Hey, tomorrow you can pick it up, your sandwich.
Sure, yeah.
Just to give these kids something to do. Our idea is to, I mean, we really have a heart to get these kids out of their houses into the teaching them something. Yeah. You know, and then the social distancing, the I don't even want to talk about the vaccine, but that's, you know, that's super controversial. And
well, it is, but you know, you also have mandates that the government puts out that you really don't have any control over. You know, whatever side of whatever you're on. If Mensa says, if you want to open, you have to do this,
right?
And it takes the controversy out of it.
True. Yeah. Exactly.
And so you know, we won't even talk about that.
Yeah. I shouldn't even.
But you know, it's interesting though. These kids, these special needs kids, when you formulate these classes, however you're going to do it, are you going to be working with that woman from David, or are you going to be working with someone who's got a training in how to do this, or is this going to be from Ben's experience?
From Ben's experience, mainly. We will definitely take. I mean, Ben's done it.
Yeah,
he's done it for 7 years.
I'm going to Google the hell out
job
of
for 7
years. That when we're done. That's very interesting.
So he's got the experience. You know, we'll definitely listen, and I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of opinions. Yeah. But and that's fine. But really, we're just going to go with what he's done and follow this model of a successful. I mean, we don't need to reinvent the wheel.
No, but you know, the whole idea of bringing a special needs person in, giving them a skill, training them, including them in the community. Yeah. And then hopefully providing them with some gainful employment. Yeah. You know, there's no losing proposition to this.
Exactly.
It's not where you have to say, well, if we do this, you know, maybe. It's a positive thing for every aspect of it is a positive thing for the community.
Absolutely.
Excuse me, and you know, the restaurants. These kids don't need, and I call them kids, but you know, a lot of them are adults. Yeah. They don't necessarily have to be placed in a restaurant.
True that, and that's something I recently realized is, you know, maybe a hotel making beds.
Yeah.
You know,
or stocking shelves.
Stocking shelves.
Didn't you say that was it Baru and David?
Yeah.
Has got a lot of special needs. And, you know, really, when I go into a store, you know, and I see a special needs person doing something, and it may seem mundane, right, to you and me. Oh, it's just repetitively stocking shelves or putting stickers on things. And I obviously speak to this, you know, from personal experience, but I can say that something like that has got to be such a huge deal for that person.
Yeah.
It's got to be something that gives them a sense of community, a sense of self-importance in a good way, you know, not in an arrogant way.
Absolutely.
And really, you know, that inclusion helps foster social skills.
Right.
So that they can further get involved in the community. It's really a shame that for so many years, special needs has kind of been put under the table, kind of been hidden. You know, there was a sense of shame and embarrassment amongst, you know, parents and whatnot.
Really?
Well, this is years ago. Because I'm talking, you know, 30, 40, 50 years ago.
Oh, okay.
You know, this wasn't out there. And it wasn't something that you even, I mean, I remember, you know, neighbors, family coming over for neighbors, and they had a child who was mentally challenged. Mm-hmm. And the kid was left in the car. I mean, mom would go in and visit with the neighbor for hours, and this kid was seatbelted, basically shackled into the car.
Wow.
Stayed out in the car.
Was AC left on?
You know, but
you're arrested now, I think, for that, huh?
Yeah, rightly so.
Exactly.
But in this past generation, particularly this generation and the generation that's before, have really done a lot to focus on these are people, these are real people. These people deserve a place in the community. They deserve to be recognized and validated. And I think that's absolutely fantastic. And and when they are, I remember you playing music at Big Daddy's, and Cody would show up.
Yeah,
it was the life of the party. He's out there dancing, grabbing the microphone, singing. Nobody was mad.
Right.
Even the band were in the middle of a song, and here he comes up, and I just gave him the microphone because this is cool. This is what this community really needs.
Exactly.
And to have you and Ben putting a program together that is going to kind of foster that acceptance in a society is into our little community here. It's wonderful.
Yeah,
I think it's great.
It's going to be exciting. Yeah, I'm really excited about it.
And Ben, obviously is going to be involved in this as well.
Heavily. I mean, because I asked him. I said, Ben, how do you tell a kid who experiences rejection often? How do you tell them no? Sorry, you're not good enough to fit in this program.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Or and really a lot of it, from what he told me, was a lot of it has to do with the screening process. Some kids just aren't. I don't want to say aren't a good fit. I don't really know. This is an area that I.
Well, there are some conditions that just are not conducive to being in that environment.
Right.
That's not a dig. It's not not trashing the person.
Right.
But it is what it is. There are some who just won't fit.
Yeah.
Maybe they're on that part of the autism scale where just being around that much activity,
right,
wouldn't work. And that hopefully, Ben and you have got a way to handle that.
So I'm following his lead. He's the brainchild and the know-how, and I've done many cooking classes.
Sure.
But I think this is going to be very different. And he said, that there was a turnover because he would, where he was before, he would bring these children on and he would train them, teach them, and then some would get a job where he was, and then others would move on to the job that he found or whatever, because he was also placing jobs with the kids. But he said, what they did also changed on their ability. I think somebody who this is just I could be way wrong here. This is just a maybe an assumption or a hypothesis. Let's go with that hypothesis.
Good word.
Somebody who is autistic typically is very
Sure, yeah.
right. They have to have their perfect order, and so baking would be probably pretty easy for them.
Sure.
Because you need because baking is exact. I'm horrible at baking because it is exact, and I'd rather pinch of this, touch of that, and if it does turn out, I probably couldn't repeat it twice. So unless I have the recipe, and then but
on that vein though, you've got over the years here, and I haven't been here as long as you have, but I see these groups pop up or these conversations pop up on social media. We want to start a community garden. Another good example is the Busters, right?
Yeah.
And there's little programs here in town that they may be volunteer.
Right.
They may not produce an income, but that would be a good opportunity. They're always looking for people to pick up trash on the road, the community garden. There's a lot of little things going on here, as being part of the expat community, to where this being the community that it is, a very generous community. The people here the expats here are very involved in this community. Maybe that will be an opportunity after their training is done and their time is done, where they could be put into these volunteer positions.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be, and that's where what my thinking was. These 12 chefs, the first 12 chefs, I'm gonna be calling on them at some point. Be like, I'm helping you promote your restaurant, and
sure,
because I want your restaurant to, but I also would like you to help give me a hand. And everybody that I've talked to so far is like, count me in, whatever you need, So anyway, there was some discussion. We had a meeting yesterday, and the meeting was about how do once we get the project done, we have the books, then what?
Yeah.
Well, a couple Facebook posts, and we're good to go, right? Well, there was some, that may not work. We may not sell them, and so there was some the comment was, well, maybe we can also get the mayor involved to write a little note in the book and get his support, which
I don't see why he
what
wouldn't.
little I know about him, I don't see
No,
why he wouldn't.
he's very much involved in bringing the positive aspects of this community out to the open.
Yeah.
You know, and I know a lot of people give him a hard time. Oh, you're just doing this for a photo opportunity. Well, yeah.
What politician doesn't, right?
Why would you not do that if
Yeah.
you're making the town a better place, whether it be through a program like yours or beautification or whatever?
Right.
Put it out there.
Yeah.
There's no shame in that. That's what you do. But you know, I don't know. I don't know him.
Yeah.
I know him very, 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 very little. I have very few interactions with him, but the people that I do know that have had, it would make sense, you know, that he would do something like that. And, you know, look, you know, there's a lot of ways to do it, and it might not work on social media. Social media can be pretty brash sometimes. You know?
Remember Gold Sea Books? Remember those?
Yeah.
Maybe we get 20 volunteers and give them 20 each and go sell door to door.
Or a fundraiser at one of the restaurants. And I don't mean like one of your restaurants, but
just any of the restaurants.
Any of the restaurants.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I can't see why I'd buy one. Put me down for one.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be your first customer because stuff like that is of interest to me.
Yeah.
And I like to cook, but I don't like to mess up.
Right.
You know, spend 2 hours making something, and then it's like, I have given my dogs more food from my, let's say, lack of culinary skills than I have eaten myself.
Oh, nice, nice.
Well, you know, they don't care. They're like, oh, look at that. What is that? Cubed pork? It tastes good. I'm like, oh no, too much curry.
Do your dogs chew? Because mine don't seem to chew.
They inhale the food, you know, and then they start coughing. And
Right,
it comes
right.
back up. That's a whole other show.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's really cool though. You know, as I'm thinking about this, you know, my mind's going ahead to things like, you know, volunteer programs, grocery stores. You know, there's a lot of farms here, obviously, that would benefit, and so would the special needs, you know, people benefit from it. And that would be just like you said earlier, when we started the show off, so win-win, you know, for everybody. And here's an idea. I'm just going to throw this out there.
All right.
Now, I have long since I've known you, which is going over 3 years now, that you should have a cooking show.
Oh.
I think you should have a cooking show. There's no live TV here, but maybe like, you know, YouTube, just have a couple of cameras set up.
Right.
And so I thought about that over the years. I think you'd make a good, you know, I've watched your videos, you know, when you're out there promoting stuff, you know, you're a very good communicator. So I figured, well, it'd be great for Chris to have a cooking show. And now I'm thinking a cooking show with you and Ben and some of these kids. You know?
Oh, yeah, that'd be cool.
I mean, what a better way, you know, to promote something than actually someone watching it. You know, obviously, you know, I'm not going to do an hour-long show, you know, YouTube, but, you know, 15 minutes or so. I think that would be really cool. I think a lot of people would watch that and give them an insight. This is working. This is the way it is. This is how it's happening right now.
Yeah.
Just an idea. I'm just putting it out
I like
there,
that.
you know?
I like that. That's cool. Yeah, that's a great idea. You know, some of the ideas we've also had is along those lines is, well, I kind of mentioned it, you know, the pick your salad up Friday morning for lunch, or we do an event. Lately, I've been into these battles, which has been fun.
Yeah.
You know,
I love your battles, man.
They're fun. They're fun.
Yeah.
I've been instead of me battling lately, I've been promoting other people. And there was a taco battle recently that was just, gosh, next level. These two talented chefs were just destroyed amazing. So
wow, yeah. No, everyone loves those battles. You know, you and Richard get into the wings and the ribs and all that.
Tomorrow we're battling sausages. Battle of the sausage.
Battle of the sausage.
So
12-year-old. But yeah, no, it's didn't you had one of those at one point?
Well,
a while ago.
There was a sausage fest
that was supposed to happen. I think that got canceled because of the pandemic.
Yeah,
I was looking forward to that.
I got stuck with like 3,000 sausages.
Oh my God.
But the bright side is I was well fed during the pandemic. Ate a lot of sausage. What's for breakfast? Sausage. What's for lunch? Sausage. What's the special at the restaurant today? Sausage.
2 for 1, 3 for 1.
So yeah. I'm eating plants for 30 days right now. So
and I know it's a little off topic, but I've gotten a couple of, I've read some of the feedback on that, and I know I've made a couple of jokes because I'm just a wise ass, but
yeah.
How's that going?
It's good. It really sucked in the beginning, to be honest. I'm around food all day. It's my job. Yeah. So like these opportunities come about that don't seem to come about when I'm not doing a 30-day plant diet. Like, for example, a Wagyu brisket showed up. Like,
oh my God!
Here's a little piece. Just try it. And I'm like, oh God, I can't. I decided to start prime rib during this thing, so I'm cooking prime rib. And as I'm cooking this, I'm like, gosh, I got a nice Kobe tomato for tomato steak for dinner.
I have no willpower, dude. Last year, maybe a year and a half ago, when you did that 30-day whole food
plant-based thing,
there, I said, me and Dave are talking, so I'm gonna try that. I have nothing against vegetarians, vegans, or whatever. You do you. And I lasted 2 days, which is longer than I expected.
Hey, once you hit that third day, though, you get this over this hump.
We went out to eat at a local restaurant, and as soon as I walked in the door, there was that they were making I don't know what they were making, a brisket or a roast or something, and it just
the smell.
And I was like, I can't do this. Yeah. And I sat down and I ordered a salad, and the waitress, the server came by and said, "You want anything else?" And I was like, "What you got cooking in the back?"
Yeah, is that bacon I smell?
It was ribs.
Oh, nice.
And that's my weakness.
Yeah, ribs.
One of many.
Yeah.
Food-related weaknesses.
Right.
I think my biggest one is cupcakes and Twinkies, but they have to be Hostess.
Or deep fried.
Deep fried Twinkies.
But I think, actually, with all the chemicals that are in those are probably vegan.
Probably, right? Yeah. No, but I did. I gave it a shot, and I really, I got to give props to, if you can get through 30 days of that, for me, I don't know what it is. Someone had asked me, about. I don't argue with people, really ever, especially what your food choices are.
Right.
So one day, I don't know who it was, and even if I did, I wouldn't tell you. But I was in a parking lot, out having a cigarette somewhere, and a younger woman, come up to me, and I knew her from town. And she was not involved in the planning, but part of the people who were trying that 30-day food thing. And said to me, "So how's it going?" I said, "Well, I gave up after 2 days." And I started getting a lecture, and I responded probably not appropriately. I said, "If we weren't supposed to eat animals, why are they made of food?" and then everybody was yelling.
You know what I've discovered? There's kind of two camps in this world of eating, let's just say, non-animals. There's the vegans are typically they're vegan because they're animal rights activists, if you will, and which is great.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
Save the animals. I don't eat animals. I don't eat animal products. That diet not necessarily is, but can be very unhealthy.
Yeah.
Because I'm guilty during this time where I go to Organica and I find things that are like processed fish and chips, which isn't fish but tastes just like fish, and it actually is very good. And I even deep fried it in one of my restaurants,
nice.
Which is not. It kind of goes against what I'm doing, but it was, a little cheating. But so there's the animals, folks that are all that's their passion, and that's great.
It is great. Yeah.
Then there's also the plant-based folks, which is more about your personal health. Yeah. And so I find there's two camps in this, which is I just find it fascinating, because it's that is my, like, some people love watching their favorite politics show, the Senate or on
whatever,
CNN, Fox, whatever, right? For me, this is that excitement. I like watching this.
That's your entertainment.
It's interesting. It's interesting. Yeah, I'm certainly not making fun. It's just I find it interesting that the two points of views. Yeah. Because what I personally am trying to do, my goal in this is to do the health part of it, just the cleanse.
Some people are plant-based, and it's got nothing to do with take my wife, please. No, take my wife for example. Mm-hmm. She's pretty much the closest thing to a vegetarian that will still eat meat, right? Because as you get older, your digestive system changes. Yeah, and with myself too. Processing that much protein in animal protein, is difficult. It gets painful.
Yeah.
So, and it helps if you really love fruits and vegetables and whatnot, and Day loves fruits and vegetables. So like 90% of her diet, probably more than 90% of her diet, is plant-based. And there's no ideology behind it. There's nothing behind it other than that she has trouble digesting meat. And I've noticed with me that has happened over the past couple of years. I'm having more and more trouble digesting beef.
Right.
So I've been eating more fruits and vegetables. And
Yeah.
people who know me are like, where's the pod?
Right.
Right. Day and I would go into a restaurant. We order 2 full meals, an 8-ounce steak, vegetables, and potatoes, and I'd scrape all the vegetables and potatoes on her plate, and she'd give me her steak.
There you
and
go.
I'd eat 2 pounds of meat, and she just,
That's how you. That's like I have the Reese's peanut butter cup test when I meet a woman, and mine 8 years ago took 1 bite of it and gave me the other 2. Like the little packages of Reese's.
Perfect relationship.
Perfect relationship.
I know, right?
She's a keeper.
But yeah, no, there's a lot of people that make fun of people for their food choices, and even if you have an ideology behind it, if you want to save all the animals, and part of that is not eating any animal-based products. Well, good for you.
Yeah.
That's your choice. You're not hurting me by doing it. Or whatever have you. So yeah.
Now there is some legitimate. There's a lot of legitimate reasons behind not eating animals that the animal rights people say. Like to produce 1 pound of beef, it costs thousands of pounds of water in there.
Yeah.
And they're what's a nice way to say fart? How do you?
I just use fart.
Okay, fart. Yeah. So when the
fart.
cow farts, it also releases some kind of gas.
Methane. Yeah.
Yeah. So
No, there are legitimate arguments, and I don't scoff. Or roll my eyes for that.
Yeah.
That's science.
right.
Cows are going to fart.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is that in whatever your preferences are, there's a place in town, a restaurant in town here,
Yeah.
that will be able to cater to that.
Yeah.
So segueing back to these 12 chefs, it's not necessarily going to be, this is going to be all animals. This is going to be all vegan. This is going to be all vegetarian. They're still going to keep their variety.
Exactly. One of the chefs, Chef Alex at I have the toughest time.
I was told how to pronounce that because I
Okay.
had Priscilla on the show a couple of weeks ago,
Okay.
and before we got it, I said, you need to tell me
Nagadri, I
how to
think.
pronounce this.
Yeah.
And she did, because it's funny,
Did she pronounce it for? Did she send you an audio?
Yeah, no, she and I'm looking for it here, but it was really funny because my Spanish is terrible.
Well, I think that's Nove Bugle, which is not even Spanish.
No, it's not.
The name.
And
Oliver, how do you say the Nagadri? Oh, he's deep in
I
something else.
confuse.
Nagadri, right? It's Nagadri.
Man, where did it go? God, I can't find
While
it.
you're looking for that, so he's in the book.
Yeah.
I think it's pronounced Engadri.
Ingadri.
Engadri.
Okay, Ingadri. So anyway, it's on your way to Valle Escondido, the curve right on the left.
Yeah, where Calibra used to be.
Where Colibri used to be. Chef Alex is awesome. And he made these carne magnolas, which were vegan, which were very, very good. And he that's one of his strengths, is he makes some amazing vegan, vegetarian food. I mean, everything I've had from him has just been next level. So, so
I was in. Are they part? They're part of this, right? Are they going to be part of?
He's in the book, yeah.
Oh man,
he's actually going back to the sensitive and is it still going on where chefs are violent and crazy in the kitchen?
Oh, yeah.
I think all chefs are just crazy anyway. First of all, let me just make this point. If you're disagreeing with me right now and listening, in order for somebody to say, I want to be in the restaurant business, you have to be crazy, because that automatically means I want to work nights and weekends. I want to work all holidays. I want to get abused by people. I want to just,
Yeah.
So anyway,
Yeah.
there's that. But I absolutely. So anyway, I forgot where I was even going with that. But
Well, you were talking about the chef being.
So he went. He grew up here in Panama and went to school. I don't know where he went to school, but he did go do a culinary program, and then he went off to France. So where, and this was probably, I don't know, within the last 15 years, I would guess. And French chefs are not known for being, chefs in general are not known for being,
Congenial.
like, yeah. So I asked him, I said, how does that, like, how was that for you, and I don't know where he's from in the country, but, let's say he's from, Boquete is a smaller little town, village, Pueblo. And you go off to a Michelin star restaurant in France, and you get treated like, they all get treated like dirt unless you get to, after you put in some time. So I said, how did that, how did you deal with that? He said, man, it was intense. It was intense. Wow. He said, it made me a better chef. And I said, it was just interesting, because I hear sometimes when I'm using my kitchen voice, don't yell at me. I'm like,
well, I'm not yelling at you.
This is just a louder tone.
Yeah.
Anyway, but this book, back to the book, I'm really excited about it. There's a lot that can branch off, and there's a lot of things that can be done from it, and I hope it works out. I mean, there is a chance that the project just flops and it doesn't work. As far as the cookbook, I doubt it, but but I still will find a way to do this special needs thing. 100% that will happen.
Yeah, but still, though, I don't think there's going to be it's going to be a real difficult thing to sell these books.
Yeah,
I know this community; they're very, very generous.
Yeah, true that.
They show up. They show up.
Yeah,
and no matter what it is, if there's a need here, this town meets it.
Exactly.
And that's been my experience in so many different levels. So this is something though that is there are many people here whose lives have been touched by special needs people.
Yeah.
And
100%.
I don't see how that would be. I'm not doing that. I mean, especially if the book's $10 or $15 or under $20.
Yeah.
I mean, I've eaten pizzas that cost me more than that.
Exactly.
Exactly. And it would really be good to see this, and the reason why I brought the Chris's cooking show up is visuals tell pictures worth 1,000 words.
Yeah.
And videos worth 10,000. And even just a little 2-3 minute, and maybe I can help you with that promo video just of these kids doing these. And I keep calling them kids, and forgive me, a lot of them they're adults.
Yeah.
These people. Just watching them being involved in this, smiling faces and everything. Obviously, there's logistics problems. You're not going to show the kitchen blowing up,
right,
which happens regardless.
Right.
But just to show the community, hey, look, this is working. This is what we do. These are your neighbors,
right?
These people are your neighbors, and they want to be involved in this community.
The other thing that this is going to do that is bring, there's this. A lot of chefs have an ego. I still am sometimes guilty of 100% of this.
Well, that never happens in radio and show business.
No,
so I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay.
I'm sure I know.
So, but like, I hear sometimes, this person stole my idea or whatever. First of all, there are no new food ideas, really, unless you're a scientist, right? All right, you didn't invent the egg.
Right.
If you did, then be happy that so many people are able to benefit from that. So anyway, but hopefully it'll bring this sense of like community as far as in the small world of chefs here in Boquete and restaurant. They'll bring us together and want to work together, and I've always been that way where like let's promote each other.
Yeah.
It's not about So that's a benefit to this as well, which it's just, there's so many things that are going to be.
Well, it's interesting because, having my family and my wife, not necessarily me personally, but my family and my wife being involved in restaurants and know what goes on behind the scenes. When I hear or read one, either restaurant owner or chef, publicly bad-mouthing another one, I'll never step foot in that restaurant again.
Yeah.
I just won't. And, and I won't get on Facebook or Twitter or whatever and say, this guy, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
They'll never know.
Yeah.
And I think that's the worst thing that could possibly happen, because I'm not going to give that person the benefit of telling them something that they should know already. You know, this is a small community. There's enough people here that if you run a good restaurant, not even a spectacular, but if you run a decent restaurant, you should be able to stay, reasonably profitable.
Yeah.
So when you get one that is just bad mouthing, oh, this guy doesn't know how to cook, or this girl, keeps messing the food up, or they don't run their kitchen right. I'm like,
Or they stole my salad idea.
Or they stole my salad idea. Yes, I invented the celery. I just won't go, and I won't say anything to anybody. I'll just stop paying. I'll just stop giving them my money. It doesn't have to be that way. It really doesn't have to be that way. I love the way you and Richard interact. And ever since I've known you guys, it's always been, it's a friendly competition.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, and I told you this before the show, Richard and I from Sugar and Spice have probably had like 10 battles.
Yeah.
And he's beat me 9 times.
Yeah.
And we're still friends, and I don't care. Because you know what? He and I, we have a great time together.
Yeah.
He's beat me in whatever, all kinds of things. But it's fun. It's
well, that's the spirit of it.
Yeah.
It's not like, okay, I'm going to rip your throat out. It's like, hey, here's a wing. Here's a wing. Which one do you like better?
Yeah.
And it brings the community out.
Yeah.
The last one you had, I think it might have been during an ACCB event or July 4th, a July 4th event. So, well, you guys had I think it was wings or ribs or something. Everybody showed up.
Yeah.
But I got there at it was supposed to start at noon. I got there at 2 in the afternoon, or about halfway through. It was packed.
Yeah.
It was just jammed. Everyone was having a good time. You were laughing your ass off. Richard was walking around talking to everybody. It was a good time.
Yeah.
There was
he and I did decide. We said, why are we working so hard? We should get our sous chefs involved in this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And anyway, but it's fun. That's what it is. It's fun. Should we? Should we talk about the?
Yeah, let's do.
I have a present for you.
But before we do that, I want to thank you. I know you're really busy for coming on, and this is such a. I'm looking forward now to following the progress of this.
Yeah.
So you keep me updated, or
for
at least
sure.
update everybody, because. And we'll talk later about maybe doing a video when a little further down the road when everything's running.
Cool. Sounds good.
Cool.
All right.
So I hear that there's something happening tomorrow.
Tomorrow, ACCB. So this ACCB, for those of you who don't know, is Association of Community Charities Boquete. And what that means is it's basically a group that helps the community.
Yeah.
And there's been once a month there's a show about that, and tune in that show and you'll learn more about what that is. But basically tomorrow is Oktoberfest.
Oktoberfest.
It's a good time.
Yeah.
There's going to be live music. There's going to be there's beer. There's sausage. There's schnitzel. There's sauerkraut. There's all the and you know what else there is?
What?
There's German pretzels.
Ooh, the big ones?
They're I don't know, like yay big.
Yeah, so that's
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, so there's those and mustard and yeah, that's going to be cool. So as you're a member of ACCB.
Yes, I am.
And I'm a member of ACCB.
Yes, you are.
They have asked me to be the I don't know, what is it, the spokesperson, whatever it is, to present you with
Look at that.
an Oktoberfest hat.
Oh, where's the camera? Let me see what we're doing here. There it is.
Oh, yeah. I don't know how many of those are in circulation, but that's a rare. I
I'm
know
going to
that.
go ahead and put this on now. For those of you who are sensitive to bright lights, I'm going to take my hat off, and I got no hair on my head, so this may glare.
Give myself. Oh.
All right, there. Oh, look at that, man.
Nice,
All
looking
right.
good. You make
Yeah,
that look
man.
good.
That's a nice hat.
Man.
Oh, look at that!
Look at this.
Oh, we gotta hold that up.
Yeah, there we
Hold
go.
that up right up there. Oh, that is nice. Oh, and look
Oktoberfest shirt.
it says staff on it.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
You ain't getting this back. I
Dang.
will roam freely.
Lucky.
Yeah, Boquete, Panama, Oktoberfest. It's got the Panama flag and the Cherokee flag on it. When we were talking about this Oktoberfest at the last ACCB show, it was funny because the last Oktoberfest I went to was in North Carolina. It was in Johnson County. And for those of you who are not familiar with Johnson County, North Carolina, it's a dry county.
Oh, right.
If you're not familiar with what a dry county is, anywhere within the border of that county, no alcohol. Anywhere. You cannot buy it, and if you're caught with it, they will take it and they'll give you a ticket or arrest you depending on how much you have.
Wow.
Well, they had an Oktoberfest in Johnson County. I didn't even put two and two together, so we took the day off work, grabbed my wife, the kids, and went down to Oktoberfest, and we went to right at the gate.
Uh-huh.
No alcohol permitted. I'm like, it's Oktoberfest.
Right.
It's like having a rib cook-off with no ribs.
Yeah.
But there will be beer.
There will be beer.
There will be beer.
There's music, fun, beer. Also, there's responsibility of social
Well,
distance, all that
distancing, all
stuff,
that,
masks.
yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, if you're social, it's all gonna be outside as well. So
Yeah. And again, this is one of those things. It doesn't matter what side of the argument you're on. This is what the government requires.
Agreed. Yeah.
So
yeah.
nobody is doing anything to you. This is an event, it's a public event.
Yeah.
And it has to fall within the guidelines.
Absolutely,
of
absolutely.
NHTSA. So
I may agree or disagree, but I have to.
yeah,
So.
you kind of got to
Yeah,
do it.
so.
Boulevard, how much time we got, man?
He's looking at his
looking at his
cryptocurrency pricing.
Oh. Hey, Bitcoin. How much time we got, man?
We have 1 minute.
One
minute.
All right. Well, let's recap. Chris Young, Chef Chris Young, and Chef Ben Looney are going to be starting this program. Special needs kids. Cookbooks are involved, providing a training and a working environment, and possibly some future activity or jobs for these very, very wonderful members of our community.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we
Absolutely.
do that. Tomorrow, Oktoberfest. It's an ACCB thing, so on behalf of the ACCB, both Chris and I say...
It's at Tap Out, by the way.
It's
I
at- I was
don't know if we
gonna say,
mentioned
yeah.
that. Did we mention that?
No, we didn't, because the last
Okay.
one was over at the other place.
Across the street, our careers. Yeah, this
Yeah.
time it's on the other side of the road. I think there's so many new people who weren't here last time that Tap
Yeah,
Out
right.
is across the bridge to the
Yeah,
right.
To the right. Big sign.
Big sign.
You
Tap
can't
Out
miss it. You
Sports
come
Zone.
over the bridge and
Yeah.
you look to the right, you're going to see it.
Boom.
I remember you putting that sign up.
Yeah.
The
yeah.
T was going, yeah.
That's right. Actually, you helped us set up the computer system
yeah,
for that
yeah,
for that
the,
restaurant.
the point of sale.
Yeah.
I hope that's still working.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, well, Chris, thanks again for coming on.
Thank you.
Taking time out of your day. And this video will be it'll probably be Monday or Tuesday because I'm going out of town. I'll get it posted out there, and then everyone share it because
Cool.
the community really needs to know about this.
Yeah. Yeah. Please. Awesome.
All right, you've been listening to Boquete Now Talk Radio on Radio Cherokee 103.3 FM, sponsored by Big Daddy's Grill and the ACC Boquete. I have no idea who's going to be on the show next week. It'll be a surprise to me, too.
Oh, nice.
So tune in. Thank you very much. Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful day. Pass them with you.
Ciao.
Good show.